You're listening to the Hella Well with Danielle show, a podcast taking women of color on a journey exploring all things wellness and travel related. We're all about showing you how to put on your oxygen mask first and creating lasting self-care habits that will free you to travel the world and live the life you truly desire, and not one you have to fake loving. I'm your host, Danielle Washington. Now let's buckle up and start this journey. This week's topic is such an important one to me, and I think it's an important one for all of us. And I couldn't be more grateful to have Stephanie Johnson of Vegan What joining us today. And if you're not familiar with Stephanie, you definitely should be, but you will learn more about her today. She's a proud vegan foodie for about 9 years and runs a healthy vegan lifestyle blog called Vegan What. And basically her mission is to simplify veganism for the everyday person like you and me so that we can live longer and be there for our families. What I love about Stephanie is that she just comes at it from a different perspective. And it's just very friendly sister girlfriend way of just talking with her. And in today's conversation, I got so much more out of feeling more comfortable, but also getting tools with just how to eat better, even if you don't go fully vegan, at least educating yourself on how to become a vegan if this is something you want to do, and how to eat better and make sure that you're taking better care of yourself and living longer, not just for you, but also for your family. So I hope you get something out of this because I got tons out of it. I'm just, again, so grateful for the conversation I had with her. So let's start. All right. Welcome to another episode of the Hella Well with Danielle podcast. Today is an amazing day because I have my girl, Stephanie Johnson from Vegan What with me, talking all things what? Vegan. Thanks for being here, Stephanie. Welcome to the Hella Well with Danielle show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
I love it. And so this topic is near and dear to my heart because I've tried to go vegan not once, but actually twice. The first time I went vegan, I lost 20 pounds. And my doctor was like, oh, you need to go back to eating meat. That's the only way you're going to get the weight back. Yeah, I'm looking at Stephanie's face. She's like, huh? Yeah, I didn't know any better at the time. So I went back to eating meat. But then this time I went back again. And it's been a whole different experience. But, before we get into everything, I want to know, are you vegan, vegetarian,
Vegan.
vegan-ish? So you're a hardcore vegan.
Yeah, for over 9 years now.
Okay. And for our audience, what's the main difference between being vegan and vegetarian?
So vegan omits all animal products. So when you're vegetarian, you still consume dairy and eggs. So dairy includes like milk and cheese. So you still include those products when you're vegetarian, but when you're vegan, you omit all animal products. And some vegans are a little more lenient on like honey, but there's stricter vegans. I don't consume honey, but I understand why some vegans do.
That makes sense. So what made you decide to go vegan?
I went vegan for health reasons. When I would say like the year before I went vegan, we lost like 3 family members within that year, my husband and I. And
to food related items or things?
I felt like they were, within the Black community, we suffer the highest risk of heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. And we lost family members to cancer and other illnesses. And I know that not everybody agrees with this, but I feel like a lot of health related diseases in the Black community are often linked to food, to the food we consume. So I just experiencing so much loss that year was like a lot for us, and it really made me reflect on my own diet.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew there had to be like a better way. Like, I've got to try something different. And we used to shoot like a lot of short films like 9 years ago.
Because you're
And
also an actress as well. I guess you should
well,
plug
yeah.
that in there as well.
Well, yeah, I'm an actress, and our roommate at the time was one of my really close friends, and he was an actor as well. And we were shooting short films with my husband. And one of our crew members, well, two of our crew members were vegetarian. And
Mhm.
so I learned about vegetarianism through them. And when I decided to make the health change, I started researching vegetarianism, but I ended up finding a Google Talk on YouTube from Alicia Silverstone, and she was promoting her book at the time, which was The Kind Diet. And just through her talk, I learned like a lot about health and why she made the change. And I was like, well, I think I'm gonna give this a I think I'm gonna give this a try, this veganism a try. Before that, I had never heard about being vegan. So,
Mm.
yeah, I bought her cookbook and
Was it
slowly.
good? I actually went to high school with her, which is interesting.
Really?
Yeah. Yes, I won't say any further, but yes, I went to high school with her.
Okay, so then we need to talk after this because I want to know. Yeah, it was a good cookbook. It was definitely helpful and informative, and so it helped me make the transition slowly. Like I just started swapping things out, and then once I learned more about like the health aspect and what they're putting in our food, and, and like environmental reasons and animal agriculture, it was just like overwhelmingly like the decision I needed to make was to be vegan. So
So you didn't go cold turkey, you kind of ease into veganism.
yeah, I eased into it, but I took out a lot of stuff
Okay.
like right away. Like meat was gone, and well, like meat, non-fish was gone. Like
Mhm.
seafood was like the hardest for me because in my family that was like a big staple in a lot of our dishes. And
Yeah.
well, my mom's from the South, so we had like a lot of a lot of seafood.
Jambalaya,
Yeah.
etouffee, gumbo, what do you call everything?
So I would say like yeah, meat was like the easiest, and then I got rid of dairy, and then seafood was like the hardest. And then I was like, well, if I'm gonna do this, I got to go all in, and so that was like the last big thing for me.
And it was kind of interesting why people go vegan or vegetarian. Like the first time I did it, honestly, it was just like, hey, let's see if we can do this.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like, I'm going to try this and I'm doing it to write a blog story. And it was cool because I actually had someone creating meals for me. So I'd meal prep the whole thing. So that was super easy until she wasn't making meals for me anymore. But the second time I ended up going vegan-ish is when I did ayahuasca. And so prior to doing ayahuasca, you need to cleanse your body completely. Otherwise, you're going to be purging a lot. If you don't know anything about ayahuasca, I highly recommend looking it up. We'll definitely have a topic about this later on. But afterwards, I came out of ayahuasca, which is a spiritual experience, and I felt one with animals. And I'll be the first one to admit, I was not an animal lover before. I'm like, I don't care. Like, yeah, I'm going to keep it real. I was not an animal lover. But like, I remember coming back from Costa Rica and my dad was having his 80th birthday party and he wanted to go to Popeyes. He wanted me to get a big batch of like chicken, like $100+ worth of Popeyes. So, that's a hell of a lot of Popeyes. Girl, why was I up in there crying? I was like, all these poor animals being killed for these heartless Americans. And I just start bawling. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this is me. But this is me. This is the new norm.
In Popeyes, you cried in Popeyes.
Oh, don't get it wrong. I wouldn't have eaten in Popeyes in general because I don't eat fast food, but I sure the heck wasn't eating the Popeyes or any fried chicken place that was fast food. But it was like, I literally saw the chickens in the
Mm,
back and I could still visualize it. And I literally was like, those are living beings that are now dead. And so I think everyone goes for a different reason.
yeah.
I think having that mentality now, it's been a lot easier staying vegan. Ish. And I say ish because that's a whole other topic that I wanted to talk to you about. Like, do you find that people are like waiting in the cuts, like, Inspector Gadget, waiting to see, is she eating meat? Is that really bacon? Is that real bacon? Is that fish she's eating. Like, I feel like people are looking and like investigating and waiting for you to mess up. Like, look, I caught her.
Yeah, I feel like not as much on my page, but sometimes when I post stuff like on my Instagram stories, people will be like, "Oh, like I'm glad you said vegan, Chris." For a second, I was like, "She can't be promoting this because it'll look too much like the real thing." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's vegan." But I feel like there's a lot of vegans have trust issues. There's been so many vegan there's been so many like celebrity vegans or like popular Instagrammers or YouTubers that have been vegan who've left the lifestyle and done videos about why they're leaving, make this big announcement, and then
It's not like a cult, but it seems like they're treating it like it's a cult. We're leaving the cult.
I'm leaving. So I'm denouncing the faith of the vegan faith. And so I mean, and the vegan community gets very upset, and um, they have a hard time with it, and so there's some trust issues there. So like they're constantly making sure that like you're staying vegan and that you haven't.
I'm like, I'm sorry, are you paying my bills? Because if you
Right?
are, maybe we can have this conversation. But if you're not, boo, bye.
I mean, I understand it to like a certain degree. Some of them are more upset about like the animals that are gonna like
I hear you.
continue dying now because you're not vegan anymore. But they have to realize that most of us were not born vegan. Most of us had to come to this lifestyle, and then some of those people might come back. You never know, but I don't feel like attacking them is going to bring them back.
Nope.
And berating them and harassing them, and like
Nope.
I just don't think that's gonna bring them back. And I feel like if they do ever go back to being vegan, it's gonna be secretly because they're gonna be scared that like you're
And that's why I use the word vegan-ish, because
you're
I'm
right.
like, the ish. Ish means I can do whatever ish I want to do.
Right.
But it's interesting. I don't think the people who, when I had the experiences of people kind of like, testing me, were the people who actually knew me as a meat lover. Because if you knew me prior to being vegan, girl, I loved every form of pork you could imagine. The
I hate
pork,
it all. I'm
beef,
right there with you.
lamb, just everything but turkey. I ate turkey, but I really didn't care for turkey. But I loved, like, I literally, my meals would be high in salami because I would buy salami that was like $40, $50 per pound and high end cheese. And that would be what I would eat all the time. And so I found that people who knew that about me were like, oh, there's no way she could be vegan. Like, and they would like, well, why are you going vegan? Like, ooh, and they would like throw meat in my face. Like, I remember one time being at a barbecue and someone's like throwing a rib in my face. Don't you miss this? Don't you wish you had this? And I'm like, seriously, dude? Like, what? Like, is it that serious? And it's my life choice. If I choose to go this way, it's my world. So I think for me, being able to say vegan-ish, because the label, I just couldn't deal with the label,
Yeah.
especially the first time. Then now, so the first time it was really hardcore. I started off the second time as vegan-ish. I was just like, vegan-ish, say something. There's an ish. I can do whatever ish I want because there's an ish.
Right. And I think that's what more people want to lean towards. I feel like that's why they're scared of the label of vegan. Because they do realize like it's a lifestyle, it's not just a diet. So like when you're vegan, it's about like your health, it's about the animals, it's about the environment. So you're trying to consume the least amount of animal products that you possibly can. So it's not just about the diet. So I feel like that's why like if you do want to consume more plants or be as close to vegan as possible, or even if you do want to be like vegan, however you choose to get there, like it's best just to go in without the label first until you're really ready to commit to the lifestyle of being a vegan.
The cult.
Because
You're ready to commit to the cult.
it can feel that way, I'm sure.
You get a cool badge or something, like a secret tattoo. I'm part of the big B. The B is not for vagina; it's for B. I don't know why I said that when I just started. Oh, welcome to my world,
I
people.
haven't heard that snort in so long.
um, so you actually brought up a good point in being vegan. So again, we talked about the first time I lost 20 pounds. And, if I was a big girl, maybe that would have been a difference. But like I'd gone down to high school weight, and high school was a hell of a long time ago. And people are like, "Are you okay? What's up, sis? Or like, is something wrong?" And I couldn't gain the weight. And like, only reason why I really wanted to gain the weight back was low key. I don't like buying new clothes. I've been the consistent same weight since college, and that's many years. And so I'm like, I can wear all my clothes because I have stayed the same weight. However, the second time, I think the first time I was worried about protein, I guess, and then that might have been part of the problem. I'm not really sure. But the second time, like now, I recently discovered that I'm anemic and like I've been having like super heavy periods. I'm like, what is this? I'm like, this is ridiculous. I've never experienced something like this. I had to get a colonoscopy to make sure nothing else was wrong and everything is fine. But like, how do, like, I know people talk about needing iron and protein, but what are like top mistakes that you see like newbie vegans make?
I feel like that's so interesting that you brought up anemia because I actually had the opposite effect. I was anemic when I was not vegan.
Oh,
So, yeah, and I ate like a ton of red meat, a lot of red meat. I loved red meat. I loved chicken. I loved it all. And
I
I
see.
ate like so much meat, dairy, all the stuff that we were taught to eat, being raised. And I was anemic. I had horrible periods growing up. And oftentimes, like I sometimes I couldn't give blood because I was so anemic. But
Wow.
when I went vegan, that like changed for me. I instant well, I mean, it was like a little bit of a transition, I'm sure, but like when I was starting to get like my blood tests and going to the doctor regularly, I was no longer anemic, and I thought that was like bizarre because
That
just
is
how
interesting.
yeah.
Well, for me, it's so funny. So my body, again, ayahuasca changed me like big time. But my body likes to tell me things and it
Hmm.
really likes to speak loud now. Like it's like your sister girlfriend. And like I'll have in the middle of the night cravings for spinach. I'm like, oh my God,
Mm.
I need spinach now. I need spinach with turmeric and nutmeg now. And I'll eat one, you get those big like containers of spinach from like Whole Foods or
Hmm.
Safeway. I'll
Or
eat half of that in one sitting
well, see,
because
and
I'm
I
just
feel
craving
like
it.
there's been times when people have said that like you're not craving meat, you're craving like protein or fat, and you're not craving, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when someone's like, I'm craving ice cream and stuff, it's like you're craving like some of the vitamins and like that are in that ice cream that you can get plant derived. So I
Yeah.
feel like I just from my experience when a lot of people transition to vegan, or especially if they do it like cold turkey, they're taking out so much and they're doing it so fast that they're eating like very little. And it's like, oh, I'm going to have like a little bowl of oatmeal for breakfast and maybe a salad for lunch and then like some sauteed spinach, which will probably not be enough because you have to
I'd
use
be
like a
hella hungry. I'm
exactly.
hungry. I'm
I,
hungry,
I
hungry.
feel like most of the time they're just not getting enough calories or they're not eating as well rounded as they should be. So they're not
Okay.
like making sure that they have like protein and a carb and a green and making sure they're getting all of their vitamins and minerals, like making sure your meals are more well rounded, especially when you're first starting. You want to make sure that you're doing that so that your body can get the nourishment and the nutrients that it needs,
And I
and then
think
you can
that's really
start like
hard, I guess, because I never thought about that.
yeah,
Like when I was eating before, I wasn't even trying to get nutrients. I was just
right.
like, I like cheese. I like meat. I'm having cheese and meat and maybe some bread.
Mhm.
And now I have to think further, but I still don't think I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I really like quinoa. I like quinoa with, certain vegetables in it.
Mhm.
And that's boom what I'm about to eat.
Right. And you can do that like a most um once you figure out what you like and what works for you, you can start eating intuitively. But I feel like when you're first starting out, especially if you're switching your diet so drastically, you need to make sure that you're getting in enough nutrients and make sure that it's well rounded. And then you're getting like whole grains and beans, lentils, and tons of veggies and fruit, even. You need to make sure that it's as well rounded as possible until you can figure out, like, okay, I think I'm getting enough nutrients. My body feels good. Now, what do I really like to eat? I just want, like you said, I want some quinoa, and maybe I want some squash tonight instead of spinach. You'll start to figure out like what your body needs as you go along. But in the beginning, just make sure that you're getting in enough nutrients.
So again, for me, I thought having a meal plan, and I know of a really dope meal plan. It's also Stephanie's name is Stephanie's meal plan, the dope meal plan. I love those. So the person who did it for me went out of business and she was local and she moved to San Diego. But like, I feel like having those starter meals is so helpful. Do you want to kind of talk a little bit more about the meal plan so people kind of idea what it is and what it isn't?
Yeah, we have a meal plan subscription service. It's called the Dope Meal Planner, and we provide meal plans, vegan meal plans every week. But it's all online, and we actually have partnered with another company. She makes
Makes
delicious. I
I
got
just
it.
started again.
And
Shout out to Chef Nina.
right? She actually does food delivery service. So meal delivery service. So we partnered with her, and she's delivering some of our vegan meals to customers. And so if you don't want to cook, you can use her service to get some of our meals.
But even having the recipes is
Right,
great.
if you just want the recipes and you have time to cook at home, we have a ton of recipes, all vegan, and we make sure that they're as healthy as possible. We don't use, we use very minimal processed foods. And the reason why we do this, because I know that when you're making the transition to veganism, it is hard, and it is hard to give up some of the things that you like, which is why it's so great that so many of these companies have vegan substitutes. But I did notice that when I first went vegan, like you, I lost like 20 to like 30 pounds. And and I was also like working out consistently. So I was like,
I was not.
well, I was, and I was like really focused on losing weight. That's why it was. And so I lost weight and it came off pretty easily. But then I noticed, like, when I was eating a lot of like these meat substitutes and dairy substitutes, and not sticking to like the whole foods plant-based regimen that I was doing when I first went vegan, the weight started to come back on, and it came back on like pretty easily. And I was like, whoa, I wasn't making the connection that a lot of these processed foods and vegan substitutes that they had for like meat and dairy are still fattening, and they're still processed. And
And they're actually not so good for you. Like, I
right.
remember like watching, my mother loves every talk show that's imaginable. I forgot which one she was watching. She's like, oh, I just saw your Beyond Meat and that's bad for you. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's healthy. And I went and Googled it, my best friend, and I was like, oh my God, this is bad, but I'm still eating it because it tastes like the bomb. Shout
Yeah,
out
I
to
feel like
Beyond Meat sausages and burgers.
they're good. I mean, they're good. They taste good, but you have to treat them just like you would fast food. Like, it's not something that you want to eat every day. It's like a treat. And I noticed that I was eating a lot more of those treats, like substitutes, like regularly. And
Okay.
so, like, when I created the Dope Meal Planner, I wanted people to focus on just like whole foods, plant based, like really get to like nutrient dense foods and focus on that, so that you're not relying on these processed foods and gaining the weight and not feeling your best, and then running back to a standard American diet.
I'm like the pork. And I think that's great. I think for me, I'm also allergic to corn and soy, which is really hard being vegan-ish when a
So I love
lot of
tofu.
things, I mean, yeah, it's tofu I've never had, so it's fine, and it don't look right in the first place. So I'm kind of okay with that. But like, oh my God, in Whole Foods, you can tell I shop at Whole Foods all the time. It's actually one of my favorite places to go. There is this, I forgot something no evil, but they have the
Sorta.
bomb pulled pork. And like it didn't say exactly soy, but it said whatever, like some other version of the word soy. I
Mm.
forgot what it was, but I didn't realize it. All I know is I'm like licking the bowl. It was so good. The next day, I'm like, I am so sick. 'Cause my
Mm.
body does not do well when I'm eating soy. So it's been really hard to avoid soy. And I think it cuts out a lot of things that I can eat. But it also helps me not eating a lot of these, substitutes because a lot of them are soy based. I'm like, can't eat that. So we're not having that. So
Right.
it's been interesting. The other thing that I thought was interesting is that there's a lot of hidden animal fat in certain foods. Like I didn't know like Worcestershire sauce and like other things like that. I'm like, who? I mean, things I don't eat in the first place because there's soy in it. But I'm like, I didn't know.
It's so weird. And they put dairy in a lot of stuff. Like, okay, the thing that pisses me off the most is it'll
What
be
pisses
like
you off the most, Stephanie?
when it comes to like them sneaking in dairy stuff, they'll put it in like hot chips. So like a flaming hot chip, like you'll go to the grocery store, go to the chip aisle, pick up a bag of flaming hot Lays, turn it around, and there's milk in there.
Why?
Why? Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
That don't make nobody sense. I'm like, why,
Why?
why?
And they put it in like everything. They put milk, everything. They put animal fat products and everything. You're just like, leave it alone. It doesn't need it. It doesn't make any sense. And it
Well, what
pisses
I'm
a lot
reading
of
is it's
vegans
for
off.
flavoring and stuff like that. But again,
You don't
if
need
you're
it.
none the wiser, you're like, I didn't know.
Yeah. And it's so bizarre.
It is
But
strange.
yeah,
It is
it's sad.
strange. It is strange, but it's interesting becoming a label reader now because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, before I was like, I buy what I like. Now it's like I need to be more careful. Like I was already quasi starting to when I had adult onset soy and corn allergies, so I kind of already look, but I kind of already know what has it. And like anything that's processed, 9 out of 10, it has corn syrup or something that I can't have. Like I
Mhm.
can't drink regular Coke and all those type of things. But now looking for other things, I'm like, this is becoming a pain. But at the same time, I love the way my body
Mhm.
feels when I eat this way. Like my body, I have more energy. Like this, I feel better. I feel lighter. There's just a different feeling that makes me feel like this is worth it. What are other benefits to just like living either vegan or vegetarian lifestyle or just eating plant based as much as possible?
Yeah, I feel like, and I'm glad you said that. Eating plant based as much as possible, especially like whole foods plant based, when you're sticking to like grains and beans and vegetables and fruit, like when you're sticking to the whole foods as much as possible, because not everybody can do it all the time. You just like you feel better. You're getting the nutrients that your body needs. It gives you the energy that you need, and in most cases, it can prolong your life and it can prevent a lot of diseases. It's not, I mean, it's not a cure all. I feel like a lot of people think when you go vegan, oh, I'm set for life. No, you can still get,
I can
you
drink as
can,
much alcohol as I
right.
want because I'm vegan, stitches.
Hey, no, that's not the case. Like, I mean, we're human, so we're still going to face, things like everybody else, but it just gives you a better chance. And like, why wouldn't you want that? Like a better chance at fighting like these diseases that are preventable and um having a better quality of life. I mean, of course, like you want to eat the things that you want to eat because they make you feel good, but they only make you feel good momentarily. And I feel like when you're eating as close to nature as possible, that makes you feel good for life. Like, and I would rather
No,
have
I
that.
definitely think it is. And that's the thing. It's like not everyone's going to want to go vegan or
No.
vegetarian or pescatarian. And I totally get that. And what I tell people, and it's part of this whole wellness and this wellness revolution, it's not about going full on vegan or vegetarian or pescatarian. It's about doing what your body needs. So if your body is like, well, I can't do those or I don't want to do those things, but 2 or 3 nights a week, I'm going to focus on eating more heavy plant based. That's better than doing nothing. It's
Yes.
about adding something in.
Yes, I agree. I agree. And I know everybody's not going to go vegan. And my husband is not vegan. He's veganish and he's been that way for like 9 years. So it, like people are going to do what they want to do. And I totally understand that. And there's no judgments there. I was not born vegan, so I know.
So you're not the cult judger. So
No,
everyone
no.
know that Stephanie's a friendly vegan. Is there a tattoo for the friendly vegan cult?
There might
There
be.
must
I
be
don't
one.
know. But yeah, I just feel like just try to eat the best that you can, and I feel like cause the least harm to your body as you can, the least harm to the environment as you can. I mean, just look at what our current situation is with COVID, and with the animal agriculture that's going on right now.
Oh
Because
my God. You have to low key, I laughed. I was like, to be carnivore right now.
Lord, like, and just, I mean, just look around and look at the times that we're heading in. Like, I no, we're not all going to go vegan, but it would be great for all of us if we did. So just eat as close to it as you possibly can. And you don't have to make the complete change. Do meatless Mondays or meatless Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Yeah.
Like just
But if you
just give
think
your body a
about it,
break from having to digest so much meat and dairy all the time. I would
yeah.
say.
And it was kind of cool. So, I mean, not cool, but like when I did the colonoscopy, I'm like, this was actually easier than what everyone else was saying. But everyone else who was talking to me about it are all like heavy meat eaters. And I was just like, I didn't really eat a lot beforehand. So I was like, oh, this was solid and this was easy. I was thinking, and don't get me right or wrong, because I mean, I'm not the historian to the fullest, but like in Africa, a lot of African tribes they don't eat meat, correct?
Right. That's what I've learned as well. That currently and in the past that there's a lot of African tribes that don't eat meat or eat very little meat, and then even one of my friends is from Senegal.
Hmm.
He said like when he goes back to visit, the meat there is so much smaller that like it compared to our meat here in America. So
Yeah.
like their chickens are actually like normal size. They're not pumped full of hormones
My
and
face is like, oh
all
my
of this
God, talking
extra
about Mexicans again. Don't
Oh no,
do that to me.
chickens. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But no, it's interesting. So it's like, and it ties back to what you were saying earlier. It's like, as African Americans, a lot of our dis-ease or diseases, however you want to split the word, is food based because we were brought over here. We weren't supposed to be eating like this. That's not what we were eating in our homeland. And so I think going back towards more of a plant based is bringing our body back to our ancestral way of living. But a lot of us aren't thinking that way because we come from families of the South where it was chitlins, everything you can name,
They had to
from the
eat to
rooter to the
survive,
tutor. Yeah,
right? It was just about survival. It wasn't about like thriving.
yeah,
And if they had the choice, they would not be eating that way. So, but we've just carried on the tradition because it's all we know. Like
yeah,
nobody told them like this is how we ate before. It was just like this is what we ate to survive, and this is how we're going to continue to eat. And it's caused so
yeah.
much harm
Well,
as far
if
as
you don't
health.
know any better, you won't do better. But,
Exactly.
you know, we now know better, but it's a habit. It's a habit. We think, oh my God, why would I give up Burger King and Taco Bell and all these other, I was about to say wonderful, but there ain't nothing wonderful about any of those places. But
Well,
yeah,
it's a habit, and it's also it's systemic. So a lot of these communities don't have access to like
very true. Because
to
I won't lie,
grocery stores.
it's
Yeah.
hella expensive
Well,
in
yeah, when
California
you
or
think
in the
about
rural
like
area.
if you're thinking about like organic and you're thinking about eating the cleanest and the healthiest and you know blah blah blah, like it can be expensive, especially if you don't have a meal plan and you're just buying, which is why another reason why we created the Don't Meal Planner, because make it,
But like
break
me,
it down and eat as simply as possible. But if you don't have access to these stores, you have to travel a long time, so you have to pay gas and stuff to get to these stores. And if you don't know what you're supposed to be eating and you just buy, like if you don't know that you don't have to buy everything organic, then you're going to think that eating healthy is
Wait, what
expensive.
now, Willis? Excuse me? What's this? Not everything needs to be organic. I'm like, what you talking about, girl?
Not everything needs to be organic. They have like a dirty dozens list, which says like what fruits and vegetables are more susceptible to pesticides when they're sprayed. And so those are like the foods like that you should be looking out for as far as like making sure they're organic. But even then, I want people to know that like buy what you can. If you can't afford organic, don't buy organic. Just eat the fruits and vegetables. You know what I mean?
It's
Eat the
better
beans, like eat the corn. If you can't, if your fruits and vegetables don't last long when you buy them because you're too busy, buy frozen and that'll last longer and then you can eat it when it's ready. But just make it simple for yourself. Do the best that you can. Like not everybody's going to be able to afford organic, but I would much rather you eat the non-organic fruits and vegetables than to go to Burger King. So.
No, I think that's a great point. So, I mean, not everyone's able to afford it. And again, whatever you can do to help your body be better is the best. Your body's going to thank you for it and you'll live longer. Well, don't quote me on that because I can't confirm that because you have other things going on in life.
You have
Make it by a best.
possibility to live longer.
Yeah, possibilities. I'm saying there's a chance. Oh my God. Thank you, Stephanie, so much. I know that you are awesome. And Stephanie is a great friend of mine who I know from a business situation. And she has a special gift for you guys. What is the special gift, Stephanie?
Yes. So to get you started on your vegan plant-based journey as far as eating, I do have a free mini cookbook and we have some free recipes in there for you. So I'm going to leave the link with Danielle and you can grab the mini cookbook and it's got breakfast, lunch, and dinner recipes in there. So hopefully you can get a little boost into your plant-based journey.
Love it. Thank you so much. So for every guest, I have them do this quick round of questions. So this is not a time to think. This is a time to answer quickly.
Oh, no. Okay.
You're ready, sis?
Okay.
Don't worry, you will not die. Nothing will be poured on you. You will not get electrocuted. It's just some simple questions.
Okay, I'm ready.
Are you sure? Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Okay, aisle or window?
Window.
What does living an active self-care lifestyle mean to you?
Eating healthy, taking breaks, and ice cream.
Oh, sorry, it caught me at the ice cream. I was like, ooh. I was like, ooh, good tell. Side note, oh my God, I found this ice cream that was hella good. And I forgot the name of it. It was like this new brand and it's like Be Well or something like that.
I don't think I've tried that one yet.
Yeah, it was it was awesome. It was like this recovering addict made this ice cream. I was like, this is dope. Sorry, sidebar, because I think I'm kind of just hungry right now. What's always in your travel bag?
Headphones, because I hate traveling without music. My phone.
Okay.
Wallet.
Those are all important things when you were traveling. And the last thing is, what advice would you give to your younger self? I hear the Jeopardy music coming on soon.
I know. I'm like, I would tell my younger self, you are important. You will do great things, but make sure you take risks, more risks. And failure is not the end of your journey. Yeah. 'Cause I was very afraid of failure younger. So that's what I would
now
tell
you are killing it. Speaking of killing it, how can people follow you? Because you have an amazing Instagram page where I can't look at it anymore because I'm like, I'm hungry. Stephanie makes me hungry all the time. So how can they follow you and learn more?
You can follow me on across all social media at vegan what? One word.
Love it. All right. Thanks again for being here. Super happy to have you. I'm super interested in finding out, how do I get to be a part of this cult? I'm waiting for my initiation. But all jokes aside, no, this is a really important topic to me, because I feel like, it starts with one meal. It starts literally with one meal, and it can change your life. But you got to be ready to choose to do better when you know better.
Yes, I agree. And I always tell people, just start with one meal.
Yeah.
And work your way from there.
It's like
Thank
Jill
you so
said,
much
one is a magic number.
Yes. I thank you for having me and for having this conversation, because I think it's a very chill vegan conversation, and I think we need more of those. So thank you.
Yeah. I think that's kind of that's the vibe we're going with the show. It's kind of like, these are two girlfriends hanging out, chilled, I want people to know wellness isn't this rigid, you have to be a certain way, you have to be a certain size. I always tell people, I am not a guru. I'm not an expert. I'm a chick who's done a lot of things, and it's helped me get to a lot of different places. And I want to help bring other women of color along to help them know that we can survive and do better. We don't have to be in survival mode all the time, and we can take care of ourselves, but we have to choose.
Yes. So
All right.
important.
Well, I love you. Thank you for being here, and make sure you guys follow her. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week as we talk about something else fun. We'll see what it is. But thank you so much for joining us, and see you next week. Ciao.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Hello Well with Danielle show. Make sure to visit our website, hellowellwithdanielle.com, where you can subscribe to our show on iTunes, Spotify, and Amazon Music and never miss an episode. Also, you can follow us on social media at Hello Well with Danielle on Facebook and Instagram, and Hello Well Danny on Twitter. And if you like hella love the show and got some good nuggets out of it, know that I'm not too proud to ask for you to please leave a rating or review on iTunes so that we can continue to expand our reach and help other women of color. Again, thanks so much for listening, and I hope to see you next week. Ciao.